Hello and welcome to another episode of the AstraZeneca Women in Tech series. I'm your host, Ben Bentham, and today I'm joined by Yuliya Podlesny from our commercial IT team based in Gaithersburg, USA. Yuliya, welcome to the series. How are you?
Hi, Ben. Thank you. It's nice to be here. I'm really good. Thank you.
Good stuff. Well, I'm really pleased to have you on, and I must say, yeah, I've been looking forward to interviewing you because I know what a really inspirational story you have in terms of your life story. So, but before we go into that detail, can you tell us a little bit about what you do in your current role here at AstraZeneca?
So in my current role, I do user experience, and maybe I should say, what is user experience? User experience is when we try to understand how people use technology, and by understanding that, we find ways to improve it. And of course, by working with our development teams, we implement that, improve it, test it, and with every iteration, it becomes the tools become much better.
And so what's the most enjoyable aspect of what you do then?
The most enjoyable aspect of what I do would be speaking with users, understanding what they need, and their everyday pain points, struggles, desires, and taking that information and carrying it on to the completion, and then seeing reward in terms of delivering those features of functionality back to our users. So it's mainly tying those loose ends from the beginning, understanding what needs to be done, to implementation.
Great. And do you have to know, being in a user experience position, do you have to understand, or at least to some degree, the psychology behind what people do, and what they like in terms of, I guess, the user experience?
Oh yeah, there is a ton of that. Psychology is actually that hidden aspect that not everybody realizes, especially the fact that we are in IT, but it's, in my mind, it's all about psychology, right? We as users make choices if we want to use certain products or not. Sometimes, of course, if you have to use Outlook, you don't really have a choice because that's the tool your employer use. But for any other tools and any tools that we as AstraZeneca put out there, it's usually a choice for people to use or not.
So you're a hidden tech psychologist then?
Yeah. By speaking with users and people, we often have to try to navigate what people are able to say and what not. Sometimes people would just say, "Oh, I know when I see it." And that's not good enough when we're trying to get down to what exactly they need. So it's really about understanding psychology, reading between the lines, and getting down to the problem or the issue, that desire that they want to see in the tool that they plan to use. So it's a lot about psychology.
Excellent. So if I rewind a little, so you moved to the US from Ukraine when you were just 18 years old, and am I right that you actually couldn't speak a word of English?
Yeah, that's right. I was pretty much like any other teenager. While we had English taught in school, it wasn't one of my priorities. I did not knew I will be moving into in US, and I wasn't paying much attention in my classes. So when I realized that I need to move, that was very scary and frightening because I really couldn't speak English at all. So I spent a whole year pretty much in here just taking English and as second language GSL classes, and trying to get up to speed so I can continue my education.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that must have been really tough. Did you move over with family?
Yeah, I moved with family. So that's again, I just didn't see it coming. It was a surprise.
And what was it like growing up in Ukraine in terms of education? Was there much around technology at school?
So no, the answer is no. I am from a small town in Ukraine, and it was what, I don't know, I'm dating myself, beginning of 2000s. And at that time, Ukraine was still recovering from the USSR collapse, and there wasn't much of technology in schools. There wasn't much focus, especially in my small town. We had some IT class, but it was, I think it was like intro to computers, something like that. I can't even remember if we had a computer in class. We just had a teacher kind of talk to us about what is possible, maybe. I think that was the time when it was also very clear how Ukraine was behind in technological advancement compared to other countries like United States. In here, people already had like online banking or some online tools that we absolutely did not have. We did not have internet in every house. In fact, we didn't have internet, period. Maybe in larger cities, people started getting internet in their houses, but not in the place where I grew up.
Wow. So when did you first get to use a computer then? Was it when you were in the US?
No, not exactly. So I once I finished school in Ukraine, in my small hometown, I moved to a larger city to study. I was studying graphic arts. And one of the things that I discovered already when I was admitted to university, I discovered that there is graphic design and it was all done on computers. And again, that is something that I just didn't know being in my small town. I was not aware about that specialty. I did not realize that there is work that can be done on computers, graphical work. So to me, that was kind of a discovery, and I started trying to look into it and figuring out what I need to do to shift my major and so on. So that was when I discovered what is computer, how to turn on, turn off, very basic things as I realize it right now, given that our kids learn it in kindergarten, if not before, but it just was not time back then. It wasn't like that.
Wow. And I mean, it's an incredible story from going from a country, especially not being able to speak English, moving to the US, at the age of 18. Yeah, that must take some kind of real bravery and resilience to kind of go through that. How's your kind of life experience shaped who you are today, and I guess who you are within your career?
I think that was really impactful on my career, on who you are, and how I make decisions. Because once you put in the situation where you have little control over, and you kind of realize you either keep going and you understand that that is your bright future, or you get scared. And I always had the choice of going back to Ukraine, right? And if I'm that scared, I would have to go back, but it's not something that I wanted to do. I didn't want to lose this opportunity. I really was looking at it as a really nice opportunity. So at that point, once you realize you really have no choice, you just do. And as they say, you fake it until you make it. So you do it, and as experience, you learn. You realize that yes, it was scary when you started, but you're actually able to do. And of course, there was always mistakes. There was always some kind of hiccups, but it's something that you just have to experience and learn how to deal and move on without trying to dwell on it.
Brilliant. Now, if I'm right, you come from a very engineering orientated family, or maybe your parents are. So did you always know that working in technology was what you wanted to do?
Not exactly, no. So my father is a chemical engineer, and he was always working on a chemical plant, pretty big plant for pretty much our city, our town lived from that plant. But I, as a child, I wasn't too interested in what he does and such. It was just something normal that he was always doing. I wasn't giving it another thought. And my mother, she's more of the nowadays kind of like network engineer, I guess, but with the earlier technology. And again, it was something that my mother did. to me, I think my takeaway was that it was never questioned if I will have some kind of degree. The expectation was that I will go to college no matter what. And I think that was the, I guess, the most important part. I knew my parents had higher education. I knew the expectation, and that's what I was aiming to pursue. But there was no ever pressure on any specific type of career. I could choose whatever I wanted.
Okay, so you almost you went into it without any real influence, but it was your decision then.
Absolutely. In fact, when I was going into career in tech, I did not realize I was going into career in tech. My degree is in graphic design, and that's something that I was working towards my whole childhood. Again, without realizing I was working towards graphic design, I was always thought that I will be in arts. I just didn't realize there's going to be computers to do graphic design on computers. I was thinking more of the old-fashioned way where you actually paint the billboards and put them out there. Because as growing up, that's exactly what I have seen in our town. It was hand-painted billboards, and that was quite interesting. So as I mentioned, I spent my childhood doing fine arts, pretty much middle to high school, and that's how I. You know, once you do something for so long, you realize you start associating yourself with that. That's how people start to see you. They see you as an artist. They don't see you as a doctor. They don't see you as, you know, IT developer. They don't see you as chemist. You are an artist. And once people start seeing you that way, that's kind of how you know, perceive yourself, how you form yourself. So that's why I naturally went into some kind of fine arts. It just was, as I moved here, I realized I can actually pursue graphic design, and I started doing that.
Great. And what advice would you give to other women interested in pursuing a career in IT, and perhaps maybe that in a similar situation may have, you know, maybe down a more graphical design route or an artist route? But that want to move into tech, what kind of advice would you give?
Just do it. So as I guess exploring a little bit more my career path would help demonstrate, would help show how what we choose right now may not necessarily be something that we're going to be doing for the rest of the life. Right. So what happened with me is once I got my degree in graphic design, I found a job which originally started as traditional graphic design, but it just happened to be that that specific position was with an IT team. And the reason is that at that time we were heavily shifting from, or maybe I should say adding to graphic design the websites. You know, everybody needed to have a website, everybody needed to have a logo, and everybody still needed to have a brochure to go with the website. You know, if it's a doctor office, you needed to have some kind of paper brochure which can outline the services you do as well as a website. So that's how it came to be that I became part of IT group. And of course, as you know, as part of IT group, the expectations became that I would work on websites. And as I started working and designing websites, I got interested in learning code to be able to develop those websites. And from here, I just took off, you know, one position after another with a little bit more exposure in, you know, in this way and in that way, and you know, it evolved into user experience and so on. But basically, what I'm trying to say is, even if you are currently in, you know, whatever industry you are, or you choose and trying to think of the major you want to study, or whatever you study may not necessarily be something that you may realize you want to do a little shift and then shift and then shift again. So that's something that I feel people do all the time, and it just I rarely see somebody who graduated and that's exactly what they're gonna do for the rest of their life. It's just your starting point. It usually evolves into something either more deeper or something completely different. But the point is, if you're interested in a career in IT, I don't see why you would not pursue that. You can try, you can always adjust. There is so many different things that you can do in IT. For example, I had my niece just a year ago trying to choose her college major, and she was a little bit hesitant about going into IT, and of course I wanted her to go into IT. The conversation went, well, you can do the development, you can code, backend, you can code frontend. If you don't like coding, you can do business analysis, you can do user experience, you can do IT management, you can do many things. But I think when people say career in IT, we instantly think of, I will be coding in front of my computer from 8 to whatever 5 p.m. and that's all I'm going to be doing. And the answer is no, that's not all you're going to be doing. There is so many things that goes into it, and you can do as much or as little of that and still be within IT.
Completely agree. Thank you for that. So how has AstraZeneca helped you develop your own personal career along the way?
That's a very good question. So AstraZeneca have so many programs that we can utilize to develop our career and take it to in any direction we want. In fact, I feel that ever since I started with AstraZeneca, it's just getting better and better. From just talking about innovative, we becoming innovative. From talking about being digital, we becoming digital. There is so much emphasis right now on learning and upskilling, whatever you have, and diversifying your skill set and knowledge. That I don't know. I think if you are interested in learning within AstraZeneca, you always would be able to find a way. We have so many tools, so many programs. You constantly hear that message. So that is about learning. And of course, with Cindy coming on board, she's constantly talking about people moves and people trying to kind of get experience in other areas besides what they are doing. So that is really inspirational to me, because it feels that we have those opportunities that, frankly, being employed in the past in other companies, I don't think I ever had. It usually mainly you get position, whatever you get, and you kind of on the pathway of maybe growing within that position. And I feel that we have a lot more options within AstraZeneca.
Great. And it's interesting you mentioned Cindy. She's mentioned twice now on this series. But yeah, so Cindy is one of your role models. So could you just explain why that is, and do you have any other role models?
So I guess it's an interesting question about role models. I think there is so many inspirational people, and Cindy definitely one of those. Of course, first of all, she is our IT leader. She started with the company about a year ago, and she been putting herself out there, trying to inspire and paint her vision. And to me, as a female, I can definitely relate to female trying to paint the vision for the IT direction for the company. That is definitely inspirational to me. And I'm not surprised to hear that she didn't mention twice already. I'm sure you will have a lot more. And that is very useful to have such role models within the company. But I must say that it's not only females. We have other great leaders within the company, and not necessarily within IT, that, again, they put themselves out there, they speak with us, they seem to be very approachable, and of course, by, we're able to see them and absorb all the information they provide. But in addition to that, outside of the company, I want to mention Sheryl Sandberg, the author of the book Lean In. And while the book came out 10 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that, I actually read that book, and that was one of the first good inspirational books that I read in quite a while. I think at that time I was really ready to start advancing in my career, and I was trying to find my pathway within IT. I think I could relate to a lot of what she said in the book. I almost felt that sometimes she is speaking about me. I think she is one of the first women who actually put her thoughts and feelings and challenges in a book. At least that's the book I read. To me, again, she's also very inspirational. I don't follow her, every day, but whenever I, hear big news with her, I definitely look into it and see her perspective if I can.
Fantastic. And that brings me on to my last question. And it's really about, Yuliya, what more do you think we, as a business, as a society, as a world, could be doing to support greater female representation within technology?
It's $1 million question. I think as society, we still struggle with that question, and I'm very happy to see that many companies embracing that, many organizations just have a lot of female-oriented STEM programs, and actually I know that AstraZeneca is actually playing part of that as well. AstraZeneca provides middle school enrichment program. And of course, I can't remember the name of it, but we definitely work with different schools providing that additional enriching experience to girls. I think it's a big challenge for our society, regardless of the country you are in, be it US, be it Ukraine, UK, any country. It might be something that we do or don't do when girls go through school. It might be something that we do not have enough role models for those girls to see and relate. As I was saying, when I was very happy when Cindy joined the company, because having a female that high within an organization really opens up a lot of minds, and we can relate and see ourselves progressing through that. Same works for girls. If we, if all they see is, I don't know, male presence on any, big companies or whatever they look at nowadays, then it's just harder for them to get into the IT. It's harder for them to relate. There is that concept of leaky pipeline. Girls do excel in school. Some of them still choose the IT-related or STEM-related college career, but then they just do not materialize in workplaces. Again, why is that? Is it because when they try to interview, they just can't relate with those companies? With me, probably that was my experience, but again, my experience is slightly different. If it's something that hard, I just don't stop. So my first interview was in AstraZeneca when I was just applying to a job. It was just all males, but again, I was applying for the coding position to code and to do user experience, and all 5, 6, 7 males in the room was interviewing me. There wasn't a female on the team. I later discovered there was female, but that was the experience when I had to make a choice: do I want to go there or do I not? By being in the IT field before, I knew that it may not necessarily be the representation of the whole company. So to me, it was not a question. I went with it. I'm very happy with my choice. But that may stop some other girls, right? So we have to make sure that we have good representation of male, females, diverse people who would be present at an interview. So you would be able to see yourself already represented in the company. Of course, we need to stop sending message of girls not good at math. They're good at math, especially if we're not going to be saying that, they will not even question that. And I'm sure there is so many other things that play into it, and we as society are still trying to work it out. But I think, to be honest, I think AstraZeneca is doing such a wonderful job on trying to attract that female talent, the racially diverse talent as well. I know we sponsored the Women in Tech conferences, and that was a wonderful experience to attend that. Definitely inspirational. We have so many groups within AstraZeneca trying to, find solutions to such, societal issues and improve it, at least within AstraZeneca as far as we can do.
That's great. Well, that brings us to the end of the episode. So, Yuliya, I want to say a big thank you for being such a great guest, for sharing your story as well. And I do hope that, and I believe it will, inspire so many of the people about the journey that you've had and some of the things that you shared with us today. So thanks so much. And to the viewers for watching again, if you've enjoyed the session, please give us a like or share, or feel free to leave a comment and engage with us. And please do join us for the next episode, which comes in a few weeks' time. But in the meantime, please do take care, and we will see you very soon. Bye-bye.